Looking at an email from an adjuster here, telling the restorer to remove one coat of paint from the living room. Only one coat was necessary. Remove overhead and profit. We do not cover overhead and profit for mitigation and contents. Change dump truck to half a dump truck. Change the equipment charges to 3 days. This adjuster's deciding that the property should have been dried in 3 days, but the adjuster never went to the site. Remove supervision charges. It's the same old thing. You guys have seen a lot of this before. Restorers are bound to comply with industry workmanship standards, and some of them continue to elevate. The restorer is subject to increased operating expenses, even though adjusters are unfairly slashing invoices, and many of them insist on standardized prices which often remain flat. The restorer can disagree with these tactics, but the restorer is a third party to the contract between the carrier and the policyholder. The restorer is often pushed to the sidelines and sometimes gets ghosted by the adjuster. The customer doesn't always have the knowledge or the bandwidth to advocate for an insurance claim payment that will allow the restorer to return the damaged property to its pre-loss condition. What's more, once a check is issued, the policyholder may run off with the funds. Believe it or not, in many situations, the policyholder is not required to hand over the insurance check. So what can you do? Well, fortunately, in most states, a restorer can obtain an assignment of insurance rights. This transfers legal right and title to certain policy rights over to the restorer. This allows the restorer to make a claim on its own behalf directly to the insurance company and, if needed, to sue the insurance company. This empowers restorers to enforce the right to a fair settlement of the claim. In most states, a properly drafted assignment of insurance rights allows the restorer to step into the shoes of the policyholder, so the carrier cannot refuse to deal with the restorer. The restorer takes a first-party position on the policy and can hold the carrier accountable for denials that have no basis in the policy. The policy controls. What if the customer runs off with insurance funds? Well, if they do, they face exposure to claims for punitive damages if the restorer has an assignment of insurance rights. Even better, in most states, if the carrier sends the money to the policyholder after being placed on notice that the restorer owns some of the policy rights, the restorer can go back to the carrier and force the carrier to pay a second time. I've forced them to do this several times. An assignment of insurance rights empowers restoration companies to recover the fair market value for restoration services. I've drafted assignments for all 50 states and notice of assignment form letters to send to carriers for each state. I've laid out a specific strategy for each state in the book on the assignment of benefits. It's time to overcome the carrier's demand that you use standardized price lists if those prices don't work for your company. Stop the mental burden of worrying about your customer being shortchanged by the carrier. So start enforcing your right to fair market value for your services with the book on the assignment of benefits. It includes training on using the forms, customizable forms in MS Word format, and documents for each of the 50 states plus DC. Check them out at edcross.com/AOB.